Deserve another round of applause. Dorothy, stand up. Jack. Such talent we have at Unity of Carlsbad. Yes? Yes. Yes. Ah. So my message today, our lesson today, is on gratitude, in case you hadn't noticed. And the title that Spirit and I collaborated on and came up with is, are we grateful yet? Are we grateful yet? We get to ask ourselves that question every day, and we get to respond to that question every day and every moment of the day. You know, gratitude is more than something nice to do. Appreciating others is more than something nice to do. Gratitude is a spiritual practice. It's a spiritual practice. And the more we practice, the more grounded in spirit we become. So we must begin with, as Dorothy so beautifully said, to give thanks. To give thanks. To give thanks. Regardless of the situation, it's an essential action that we are to take as spiritual beings in this human experience. And it's a powerfully positive way to live. I love being happy. I love feeling a sense of gratitude. Because feeling that sense really raises our vibrations. Because we don't always have the singing bowls around us, right, to raise our vibrations. So feeling this sense of gratitude can instantly raise our vibrations. When I was a young child, and I'm sure you had a similar experience, I was taught to say grace, to give thanks before every meal. And whether it was Sunday dinner or Monday breakfast, I said my grace. Before I put the fork in the food to come to my mouth, I said grace. I gave thanks. And saying grace before a meal expanded into being grateful, being thankful beyond the meal. I thanked my mother for sewing my clothes. Although I will share with you very honestly, and if she were alive, she would agree, Mother wasn't always the best sewer, okay? And the ill-fitting, awkward dresses and blouses that I had to wear, I still thanked her. because I had clean clothes to wear every day. And I was thankful for that, because guess what? Some people didn't. Some of my classmates didn't have clean clothes to wear to school. So I was thankful to my mother. But you know, those awkward, ill-fitting dresses that I really did not like to wear motivated me. And I had this thought. My intuition said, I can do this. I'm sure I can figure out how to put a pattern to fabric and sew my own clothes. And so that did inspire me to have a sense of my own style and be able to learn to sew. And so as we talk about gratitude this morning in our morning lesson, I'd like for us to begin with a quote from our co-founder, Charles Fillmore. And he said, "Gratitude and thanksgiving are both necessary in demonstrating prosperity through divine law. Be grateful to God and thankful to the friends whom He uses to supply us." My mother was not only my mother, she was my friend, and she was supplying me with the motivation to wear clothes that I was not ashamed of. So again, our message, our lesson today is on being grateful. Being grateful for what we already have. And from this sense of gratitude, we are able to expand beyond what is going on right now. The lesson is grounded by the amazing work of not only our co-founder Charles Fillmore, but on Dr. Harriet Emily Cady. Emily Cady was a physician and a metaphysician. This book is the complete works of Emily Cady, and it is a unity classic. Lessons in Truth is a unity classic. And she wrote 3 books: Lessons in Truth, How I Used Truth, and God a Present Help. And from Dr. Cady's amazing work that Charles and Myrtle had to convince her to write for unity, the unity movement and its teachings grew from that foundational work of Dr. Emily Cady, a physician and metaphysician. And so I will share with you the words from Lessons in Truth, Lesson 11, Item 36. Let us not desert our own work, our own God within, to gaze or pattern after our neighbor. Let us not seek to make his gift ours. Let us not criticize his failure to manifest any specific gift. Whenever he fails, give thanks to God that he is leading him up into a higher place, where there can be a fuller and more complete manifestation of the divine presence through him. Let's take that in, and we're going to break that down to how it relates to us today. So let's take the first sentence. Let us not desert our own work, our own God within us, to gaze or pattern after our neighbor. You know, so often we can lose sight of our own gifts, our own talents. We look at someone else's talent and say, I want that. I want to be just like that. Now, I would love to have a beautiful voice, but there's no way that I am going to be a Dorothy, okay? No way. So I have to be, or as Dr. Katie is saying, be thankful for and cultivate my own talent, whatever that is. Let me give you an example. There was a famous singer who just loved to sing. And she wanted to sing just like Aretha Franklin. And so she started imitating how Aretha Franklin sang. And then she wondered why she was not getting the kind of praise and recognition that Aretha was getting. So then she started imitating another singer, thinking that, you know, by having her voice to be just like these other already recognized singers, that she would, you know, get to that same place of stardom, if you will. It took her a while, but she finally realized that she needed to look at her own voice, her own talent. Maybe she couldn't sing like Aretha, but she could begin to cultivate her own sound. And so, let's go to our next point. Let us not seek to make his gift ours. So she finally got it, that she couldn't make Aretha's gift her gift. And so she began to work with her own voice, cultivating her own style. And as she did, she excelled. She became a success in her own right. Not because she sounded like Aretha, but she sounded like herself. The person I'm talking about was Natalie Cole, the daughter of Nat King Cole. Natalie finally realized she had her own style of singing. She had her own beautiful voice, her talent to cultivate. And when she did that, the music industry recognized that. Her fans recognized that, praised that, applauded that. And so let's go to the next point. Let us not criticize his failure to manifest any specific gift. When we use our energy to criticize, to be negative rather than to build up, to be positive, we take away, we diminish, we neglect the positive energy that is coursing through our own being, rather than supporting and creating something good. So rather than criticize, let us observe, as Emily Cady is suggesting, and discern what is ours to do. The divine presence within each of us will let us know what is ours to do. It will inform us. Just like when I was a young girl and I was not going to pitch a fit, believe me. I was not going to tell my mother that I was not going to wear her dresses to school. I was not going to criticize. So my intuition, another name for the divine presence, let me know that I could do what my mother was attempting to do, and I could do it the way I wanted it done. So you know what I did as a 9-year-old? I joined the 4-H club. And Mrs. Janetta Probasco, I will never forget her, taught me how to sew, taught me how to hold a needle, taught me how to thread a needle, taught me how to use a sewing machine, because mother never let me use the sewing machine. But once I learned how to sew, I created my own clothes. I put my clothes, my skirts, my blouses, my dresses in the county fair. And I got ribbons. And the more ribbons I got, the more motivation I got. I was grateful. I was grateful for what my mother had attempted to do and did. I was grateful for seeing, noticing, listening to intuition, to the divine presence. And that gratitude led to a motivation, which led to learning, to cultivate the talent that was within me, to do something that I could indeed do. Now that is a simple example, but it's one that each and every one of us must take to heart. This is what Emily Cady was talking about. In everything, be grateful. I love this quote from, I was to do this, okay. Whenever he fails, give thanks to God that he's leading him up into a higher place where there can be a fuller and more complete manifestation of the divine presence through him. Our failures are our teachers. They are our lessons to learn. So in our, quote, failures, let us be grateful. Because in those failures, we are being presented with lessons to learn. Just as I learned, just as Natalie Cole learned, each of us is here to learn what is ours to do. Rather than coveting someone else's talent or coveting what someone else has, we are here to learn, to excel, to be successful in whatever talents we possess. And it is our work to determine what our talents are. That is part of our work, as well as our inner work is to practice loving and being grateful every day. Not just when things are going well. Not just when things look like they are for our benefit. Every day, in every situation, we are to give thanks. We are to be grateful. Because in doing so, we then are given the opportunity to listen, to be guided to what is ours to do. And so let's take that in. Let's know what is indeed ours to do. I love this next quote from the amazing musician Lionel Hampton. Now, those of you who are a whole lot younger than me and others in the congregation may not remember Lionel Hampton, but he was amazing playing the vibraphone. And so he said about gratitude, it is the memory. It's when the memory is stored in the heart and not in the mind. Think about that. Gratitude is when memory is stored in the heart rather than in the mind. I remember just a few days ago that it was the 6th anniversary of my driving cross country from Kansas to be here, to be in Southern California. And I remember the wonderful beauty of the scenery as I drove alone in my car with all of my belongings. And while there were certainly some hiccups along the way, what I remembered just the other day was the adventure and the fun that I was on. And I was anticipating getting here in this beautiful climate. It's a lot different in Kansas, let me tell you. So I was anticipating being here. So yeah, I was grateful. I was so grateful, and that memory was definitely stored in my heart. You know, the other stuff, the other, little hiccups, they faded. I don't even remember most of them. I remember driving by myself cross country to start a new life for myself. And so the memories that we make with our experiences, whether alone or with family or other loved ones, are stored in our hearts. And the hurts and the disappointments and the, quote, mistakes, they fade. They fade in the background when we're able to transcend those hurts and disappointments through the love in our hearts, through the forgiveness. So the memory stored in our heart is the gratitude that we feel. It's the priceless feeling of abundance, richness, wealth. And no amount of money can buy that memory. So let us affirm together, I am grateful for what I have, and from this consciousness, I prosper. Let's say that again together. I am grateful for what I have, and from this consciousness, I prosper. So, are we grateful yet? Yes. Thank you.